Hey everyone, welcome back to the High Peaks Weekly Report. I'm Jonathan Zaharek, your favorite hiker, and welcome back to a new episode. And man, it is an important one. If you're returning, welcome back. And if you have never been here before, welcome. My name is Jonathan. I am a professional landscape photographer and guide here in the Adirondack High Peaks. And this report is to educate, inform, and entertain all lovers of the Adirondacks. If you aren't already, click that subscribe button and put the push notifications on. We have an important episode today, so let's jump right into it. But before we get to the main topic, I first want to go over what I hiked this past week and the current conditions on the trails. On Saturday, I hiked Giant and Rocky Peak Ridge with a client. Snow and ice is still very present above 3,000 feet. It is deteriorating fast. However, we are planning on getting up to another foot of snow in the next couple days. Below 3,000 feet is still scattered ice and mud, and winter is still hanging on with a thread. So be mindful of all the conditions and remember that we are now entering mud season. I saw plenty of people that were starting to hike up Giant without even backpacks, let alone no traction. Plenty of unprepared people. So if you haven't really hiked here before in the Adirondacks, now is not the best time to climb your first high peak. Remember that if you want to go out at this time of year and the next following couple months, please consider staying at lower elevations. That way the trails can dry faster and ideally have a better drainage. Stay on the trail. That's pretty simple. Do the rock hop, walk through the mud, and don't walk around the trail. And even at the lower elevations, make sure you are using Gore-Tex, gaiters. It's gonna be pretty wet, people. We wanna utilize this time to be able to take care of our trails the best way that we can. Remember to be a steward, not just by listening, but also doing. And remember to leave the park better than how you found it. We're gonna hop right in to the main subject. Most of you probably already know what it's about, and it is the new AMR permit system. Before I get into what I have to say about it, I want you guys to hear some few key points that were presented in the article. Number one, and I will be reading a little bit of a prompt here, so mind my eye contact. Parking in the AMR 70 spot lot near Keene will require a reservation starting May 1st through October 31st. Hikers, whether parking a vehicle, getting dropped off, or arriving on a bicycle, will need to make one of the reservations according to a joint news release from the Department of Environmental Conservation. And walk-ins to the AMR will not be permitted. Each of the 70 vehicle registrations will be good up to 6 hikers. Secondly, the DEC said there is no cost for making a reservation. The parking lot will be accessible between 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. The parking lot, with the exception of overnight parking according to the news release. So what I think that is saying is the parking is accessible within that time frame, but you are allowed to be on the property at any time, as long as you have a reserved parking spot. This is the important one that you guys all need to remember. Listen carefully. I even overlooked this one. The DEC commissioner has said in the past that a hiker permit system is a last resort. And on Monday, he reiterated that position. In an email statement, he said that this new pilot reservation system is meant to address the concerns at this specific location. While the DEC still considers a permit system to be a last resort in general. Yes, there are a lot of people scared that the whole entire High Peaks is gonna become permit-based, but right now, this is just about this specific location. Yes, it is a pilot, so we can see how a permit system is worked. It's a great way to get an idea, to see the pros, see the cons, see the flaws, and see the benefits. But right now, it is to address the AMR particularly. The reservation system is meant to address the growing traffic, parking, and public safety problem on Route 73 in Keene. The state has already cracked down on illegal roadside parking, added State Department of Transportation message boards, and increased the law enforcement presence. Now, onto what I have to say. We are entering a day and age we have never seen before. This is obvious. Although I was born and raised in the Midwest, I have immersed myself in this culture and have surrounded myself with people who were raised here. I have the privilege from my perspective to see everyone's perspective. And I am fortunate with the following that I have to hear all sorts of opinions from every different type of life. I myself am still constantly learning. I feel that I am most certainly not the person that I was 3 years ago. My passions, morals, and ideologies have been constantly evolving as my time living here progresses. At the end of the day, we want what is best for this place, to stay forever wild. But in this moment, the Adirondack Park finds itself in a philosophical conundrum. To permit or not to permit. Although this permit-based system is directed specifically to the AMR, we should still use this time to assess this and the possible implementation of permits in other areas. In general, there are plenty of people who feel that the permits are beneficial in every way, shape, and form. And there are plenty of people who feel that the permits would bring more hurt than good. Even though each of us might feel strongly in one direction, we still have to have an open mind. Because permits are not the only option. And this is a pilot program, after all. But no one truly knows what the outcome of this is going to be. Although this is a pilot, this initiation could result in a larger scale permit system. All this information is fresh in the last 72 hours. As time goes on, we will see the areas that need improvement, and we will see the benefits and the flaws of this approach. We have to remember that there is no perfect system. We have a written constitution to protect this land, keeping it forever wild and not building upon it. Is the answer an integrated permit system? Maybe. Is the answer to be without permits? Most certainly could be. I would urge those who feel strongly about the permits to objectively look at the ways we could approach these issues without a permit system. And I would urge those who feel strongly against the permit to see the possible benefits that this system could have. A permit system is not the only way to address these issues. There are many options, but we have to start somewhere. Everyone watching this video can agree on one thing. This park needs our help. Finding a way to balance our passion for the outdoors, freedom of the land, and environmental conservation is a huge undertaking. At the end of the day, we all love these mountains. We all have an innate desire to be immersed amongst the outdoors and to see it flourish and to not be taken away. Whether you have been hiking here for one season or your whole entire life, everyone has the same equal right to freely hike here. Thousands of people will still continue to come here from all different backgrounds and all different experience levels. But if you recreate here, you have a responsibility to keep this place forever wild. It is important that we hold ourselves to a high standard, and through this, constantly hold ourselves and others accountable. So that is what I have to say for now about this issue. Feel free to comment below your thoughts on the impending permits and what you think below. Have a conversation with other people. I would love to hear what you have to say. On to the next part, Q&A. I asked you guys to submit questions. There's a link below in the description if you want to ask a question. I try to ask every single question that I can every week. So let's get right into it. Paul asks, can you explain what specific parking lots are included in the new reservation system for the AMR? Pretty sure it's just the 2 full parking lots. The AMR restricted parking to 28 cars this past summer, but will hopefully open up both parking lots to allow the full 70 people to park there. Brian asks, last summer you completed this Super Pemi loop and mentioned that you'd like to complete the Northeast 115. Any plans this summer to head back to the Whites? Yeah, I'd like to do the Presidential Traverse, maybe the Hut to Hut Traverse. Still, I got plenty of time. I'm in no rush to get that stuff done, so I'll just take it one season at a time. Eric asks, have you ever considered doing any longer multi-day through hikes, such as the Cranberry Lake 50, Northville Placid Trail, AT, etc.? I do plan on doing the Cranberry Lake 50 this summer. However, I'm gonna do it in one day. The Northville Placid Trail, potentially. I might do the Adirondack Trans route instead of the NPT. And as far as the AT goes, if I ever do that one day, I want to be super passionate about wanting to do that particularly. So we'll see what happens. On to the next question. Zach asks, planning a hike this spring, summer that will start in St. Hubert, hit the Dix Range, camp at Slidebrook, go around Elk Lake, Sunset Haystack, camp at Snowbird, Sunrise Basin, and then come out the Great Range. My question, what is the Elk Lake Marcy Trail like? Specifically getting across the Marcy Landing area, and have I done it? So no, I have never done that before. I would like to. I want to eventually redline all the High Peaks trails that I can, so I know eventually I'll get into that area. But I heard it's somewhat maintained and also has some swampy sections to it. But that sounds like a really fun day. Emily asks, my best friend and I are finishing our 46 this summer on Gothics. We want to make it a memorable trip, and we're thinking about going up Benny's Brook Slide to Lower Wolfjaw, then through the rest of the range to Gothics. Do you have any recommendations about this? Benny's Brook Slide is an awesome beginner slide. Again, I'm not here trying to tell people that they can just freely go off and climb whatever they want without any foreknowledge or experience. So it's important that you do your research, understand what you're getting into, maybe go with someone who's done it before, and have the appropriate footwear and gear if you are going to eventually go up a slide. Benny's Brook Slide is a great beginning slide to learn on. It's very gradual. The head wall can be kind of steep, and obviously you don't want to climb it in the rain. Getting up to the summit from the head wall is actually pretty easy. I think it's a great way to start that range. So if you decide to do that, have fun. Mel asks, We're thinking about doing Haystack and Basin this summer. Already did Saddleback. We're not very fast hikers. Wondering if you'd recommend the Shorty shortcut to get back to Johns Brook Lodge. I've heard some negative things about it. So Shorty shortcut or the Shorty shortcut, whatever you want to call it, there's 2 sections. You can go in between the call between Basin and Haystack, or you could go directly up to Haystack. I like taking the direct shot. I still think it's nice and gradual, and you still get there much quicker. Devin asks, Zaharek. Sounds like a Middle Eastern last name. What's your heritage? Where are your parents from? So ironically, I am Middle Eastern. I am Armenian and some Turkish. However, my last name is actually Polish. It's Eastern Polish. My heritage last name is Nazarian, which is more Armenian than Zaharek, however you want to pronounce it. But my family is originally from Armenia, and I believe I'm 4th generation American. Steve says, if you had to pick a hike from these 3, which one and why? Colden via Avalanche Lake Loop, Mount Marcy, or Nippletop and Dial. Assuming you get parking at the AMR, I think Nippletop and Dial is a fantastic hike. Out of those 3, it will be the least populated one, especially now that the AMR is going to be on a permit-based system. I have a soft spot for Nippletop. I think it's an incredible ridge line descending all the way down the Dial, but I also love going up the Dial first, then Nippletop, down, hit Indian Head, and then back to the car. I think that's an incredible loop. But if you've never done any of those 3, Colden via Avalanche Pass is probably going to be the most scenic way. So again, if you've never done any of those 3, that one would be really, really awesome. Because of the time constraints on the video this week, I am not going to be doing the photos of the week. If you would like to submit a photo, you can use the hashtag HighPeaksReport on Instagram. And even if it's not a photo from this past week, guys, submit any picture you want, Adirondack High Peak related. And I'd love to show it here at the end. With that being said, guys, hike smart, have fun. Thanks for the support and watching. I'm Jonathan Zaharek, and I'll see you next time.